You're sitting around a fire. It's 3000 BC. You've got nothing to do tonight. No Netflix, no phone, no fantasy football league to obsess over. Just you, the flames, and a small pile of sheep bones sitting in the dirt next to you. And at some point, someone picked up those bones, threw them, and looked at how they landed, and then did it again, and then bet his neighbor a goat that they'd land the same way twice. This is the story of how humans discovered gambling. Not casinos, not lottery tickets, not the guy in your fantasy league who never pays up. We're talking about the very first time a human being risked something valuable on pure chance, and why that might be one of the oldest impulses our species has ever had. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Gambling doesn't start with cards or dice factories or Vegas. It starts with bones. Literally. The oldest gambling artifacts ever found aren't dice in the modern sense at all. They're astragali, the small knuckle bones from the ankles of sheep and goats. These bones have a naturally lopsided shape, 4 distinct sides that land differently depending on how they fall, which makes them an almost perfect randomizer without anyone having to carve or design anything. Archaeologists have found astragali worn smooth from repeated handling at sites across the ancient Near East dating back over 5,000 years. People weren't just tossing bones around for fun, they were tossing them, watching how they landed, and assigning meaning and eventually stakes to the outcome. Now here's where it gets interesting. Before gambling was gambling, it was divination. In many ancient cultures, throwing bones wasn't a game, it was a way of asking the universe a question. Which side lands up? What does the pattern mean? Should we go to war? Should this marriage happen? The gods, spirits, or fate itself were thought to be speaking through the fall of the bones. And this matters because it tells us something crucial. The very same mechanism, an unpredictable object landing in an unpredictable way, was used for both talking to the divine and settling a bet. The line between prophecy and gambling in the ancient world was thin, and it might not have existed at all. When you rolled bones to ask if the harvest would be good, and your neighbor rolled bones to see who owed who a jug of beer, you were using the exact same technology for 2 purposes that we now think of as completely separate. Let's talk about ancient Egypt, because the evidence there is remarkably well preserved. Archaeologists have found a board game called Seynet in Egyptian tombs dating back to at least 3100 BC, some of the oldest tombs in Egyptian history. Senet was played on a grid of 30 squares, and while the exact rules have been lost to time, most researchers agree it involved a strong element of chance, likely determined by throwing sticks or bones, combined with strategic movement of pieces. And it wasn't just a casual pastime. Senet boards were buried with the dead, suggesting the game had deep religious significance, possibly representing a soul's journey through the afterlife. Tutankhamun himself was buried with several Senet sets. Think about that. One of the most powerful rulers in human history was sent into eternity with a gambling board tucked in beside his golden mask. Now, here's the question that should be sitting in the back of your mind. If gambling artifacts show up this early, this consistently across cultures that had no contact with each other, what does that tell us? Because Egypt wasn't unique. In ancient Mesopotamia, archaeologists have found dice made of baked clay dating back roughly 5,000 years, alongside gaming boards like the royal game of discovered in the royal tombs of the city of in modern-day Iraq. This game used a set of pyramid-shaped dice and involved moving pieces along a track based on chance rolls, with betting almost certainly attached, based on later cuneiform texts that describe gambling disputes being brought before judges. Yes, there were gambling lawsuits 4,500 years ago. Some things never change. Let's jump to ancient China because the story there takes a genuinely wild turn. Chinese historical records describe a game called beige, white pigeon tickets, which some historians consider an early ancestor of the modern lottery, dating back at least 2,000 years, possibly further. Even more remarkably, some accounts credit the funding of sections of the Great Wall of China to lottery-style games played by laborers and local communities. Whether that specific claim is fully accurate is debated among historians, but the broader point stands. Organized games of chance, involving real money and real stakes, were embedded deeply enough in ancient Chinese society that they left a mark on infrastructure, on law, and on written record thousands of years before anyone in Europe had built a casino. Here's where we have to be careful about timelines because gambling artifacts and gambling as an intentional cultural practice are 2 different claims. The oldest astragali show up so early and in such large numbers that many archaeologists now believe games of chance predate written history entirely, meaning humans were almost certainly gambling in some form before agriculture, before cities, before anything we'd recognize as civilization. Does the absence of older physical evidence mean it didn't happen earlier? Almost certainly not. Bones survive. Wood, cloth, and woven mats used for early games mostly don't. We're seeing the tip of a much older iceberg. So, why would evolution build a brain that finds risking something valuable on random chance enjoyable? This is where it gets genuinely fascinating, because gambling seems to hijack the exact same neural machinery that made our ancestors good at hunting, foraging, and surviving in an unpredictable world. Every time an early human decided whether to chase a fast-moving animal that might get away, or explore an unfamiliar valley that might have food, or take a risk on an unproven mate, they were running a mental calculation about uncertain rewards. Neuroscientists have found that the brain's dopamine system responds not just to rewards themselves, but to the anticipation of an uncertain reward, and that response is actually stronger when the outcome is unpredictable than when it's guaranteed. In other words, our brains are wired to find uncertainty itself rewarding, a system that evolved to make risky foraging and hunting decisions feel motivating rather than paralyzing. Gambling didn't need to be invented from nothing. It just needed someone to strip away the survival stakes and keep the thrill. There's also a social angle here that rarely gets discussed. In small hunter-gatherer societies, resources fluctuated constantly. A hunter might come home with nothing for a week and then an enormous kill the next. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have observed gambling like risk-pooling behaviors, essentially informal systems where surplus gets redistributed through games of chance, smoothing out the unpredictability of feast and famine. Losing a bet to your neighbor this week might mean he owes you food next week when the situation reverses. Gambling, in this light, wasn't reckless. It may have functioned as a primitive insurance system, a social technology for managing risk in an unpredictable world, wrapped in the form of a game. Of course, once gambling moved from small tribal exchanges into organized societies with wealth, currency, and power, the story darkens considerably. Roman emperors were notoriously obsessed with dice games, even though gambling was technically illegal for most of Roman history except during festivals. Emperor Claudius reportedly wrote an entire treatise on how to win at dice, and Roman soldiers famously gambled for the clothing of a condemned man at the foot of a cross. According to the Gospels, a detail so small it's easy to miss, but it tells you, gambling had become such an ordinary background activity that it shows up almost as set dressing in the most significant story in Western history. By the medieval period, gambling had become so widespread and so socially destabilizing that kings across Europe repeatedly tried to ban it, usually without success. Richard the Lionheart reportedly restricted gambling among his soldiers during the Crusades because it was destroying troop discipline. Bans rarely worked. The impulse was simply too old, too deeply wired, to legislate away. So why did ancient humans start gambling? The honest answer is that gambling might not have a starting point at all. It might not be something humans invented so much as something we discovered already sitting inside our own brains, a byproduct of the same risk-calculating machinery that let our ancestors decide whether to chase the animal or wait for a safer one. The bones, the dice, the boards, all of that came later. The instinct, the pull toward uncertain reward, was already there, waiting for something to throw. There's something almost strange about that. For all the technology separating a modern casino floor from a fire-lit circle of hunter-gatherers 5,000 years ago, the underlying pull is identical. Someone risks something. Something lands. And for one suspended second before the outcome is known, the brain lights up in exactly the way it always has. That's not a flaw. That's the same machinery that made your ancestors good enough at reading uncertainty to survive long enough to have you. Next time you flip a coin to make a decision, or feel that small flicker of anticipation waiting for something to land, you're participating in something far older than you realize. You're doing what humans have always done. You're rolling the bones.